I'm Richard and welcome to ZP Productions, and today will be a video on the outdoor equipment I bring with me for my portrait shoots. If you have followed my channel, you should know that I do a lot of outdoor portrait shoots, and these are pretty much the equipment that covers like 80-90% of those scenarios. The outliers are really big studio equipments that I have to bring out separately. Now, just to note, this equipment here pretty much gets the job done, but it's not an end-all to everything, and the quantity and even the camera itself may change depending on the situation. So let's talk about why I bring them out and what do I bring. So firstly, we talk about the bag first, and this is the Think Tank Airport Navigator. Now, I like this bag because it has three major functions. Firstly, it's a roller bag, and the roller bag allows me to offload all this weight onto the bag itself. Secondly, it is top loading, so I can take out my equipment safely without requiring the whole bag to be opened up, and also it doesn't require the bag to lie on very dirty ground such as sand and dirt. And lastly, it is airplane friendly and you can travel with it, which is a really nice advantage to buy a bag. Pretty much that's about it for the bag itself, so let's take a look at the equipment on the table again. First, this is the camera, and this is the GFX100. Now, you should know I also have the Canon EOS R, and between this camera and that camera, it depends on the situation and the lens on hand. If you have not seen my previous review where I talk about lenses, do look at the link above, because if I'm going to use the 50mm 1.2 or maybe the 85mm 1.2 for that particular bokeh or I'll say the soft effect, I will go for the Canon cameras. While if for most situations, I will go for the Fujifilm GFX100 because it has a better dynamic range, which makes my post-processing life way easier, and I can shoot with less worry that I cannot save a shot. This is really important because regardless of condition, and if you have set the timing properly, you should be able to achieve something from the shoot itself. Now, lenses wise, I normally bring out these two lenses. This is the GF110 and the GF45mm, representing the short teleprime, the 85mm equivalent, and the really close-up portrait primes, which is the 35mm equivalent. If I want a standard portrait look, I want that bokeh, that really soft feeling, then I'll go for this GF110. Now, if I want the very dynamic look, especially for cosplay or really for certain fashion shot where I want the dress to flare up, then I will use this 35mm equivalent, the GF45mm lens. And that is about it for the lenses wise. Normally I bring two of them so that I cover most ranges, because sometimes when you shoot and you got a certain inspiration, it's always nice to have an alternative view angle. We talk about accessories on the GFX now. Firstly, we talk about this thing. This is the tilt viewfinder. If you have not seen my earlier review, do go on the link again. And this is so important because it allows me to shoot from various angles without worrying I can't see the screen. And no matter how good is your tilty screen, on bright daylight, you can't see anything. The other thing is that this L plate here, if you notice on my GFX100, there's an L plate, and I don't bring this L plate out normally. This is the small rig L plate. It's really heavy, but it's good for protecting the bottom of the GFX. And you see the two lugs here, and these lugs are meant for, I'll say as slings, and I usually use with an arm sling. So I prefer the arm sling over the neck sling because the neck sling do impede my motion at times, while the arm sling usually is good enough to put on my hand and save the camera from dropping if it does happen. It have not happened before, so I think it's all good. Now, in front of them are card readers. This is the MRW S1 from Sony. It's a nice UHS-2 card reader. And for SD cards, I normally use the Sony ones because they are cheaper in Singapore and they have maximum speed. This is a 300 megabyte per second card. So, it pretty much works the same as a SanDisk, but costs lower in Singapore itself. And then this is the charger for my flashes. I'll talk about it later for the flash, and it charges with USB-C, so very convenient. So below that is a power bank, and no matter what power bank you have, as long as it does USB-C output, it's pretty much safe in the modern era, because you don't want to have a situation where you bring a camera or flash out that don't have power, and therefore you cannot continue the shoot. While with a power bank, you can always save by just charging for 40-50 minutes, and you can continue on the shoot thereafter. Now, if you are doing it with a client, don't do this, bring a spare camera. But if you are doing it for hobby, for your own personal reason, for portfolio, and don't mind waiting a little, I think it is good. It sure beats not having a single photo from the shoot itself. So that's about it for the camera equipment. So let's talk about lighting stuff. So you can see here, this is the Godox V1 flash, and this is the round-headed flash. I like this because it uses lithium-ion batteries. The bad thing is that you cannot replace them easily. The good thing is that they last really long, about 2 times or 3 times longer than AA batteries. So they pretty much work and they recharge really quick. Now, the nice thing is that the round heads are more even than the square heads, and the round head has a lot more accessories too. The good thing about Godox is that they built a lot of version of this. So this is the F version, you can see on the thing here. And there is the O version I have here, and also have a Canon version. So, regardless of whatever version, you can always use a wireless trigger to trigger all of them. Which talks about wireless trigger. So this is the Pro trigger. And the good thing of the Pro trigger is that you can see all the settings and it lights up really nicely. And all these settings are easy to manipulate, unlike the X1 trigger, which requires you to scroll around, hard to see and hard to manipulate itself. So the round head has a lot of advantages of the V1 round heads, and that's because you can buy this accessory kit. This is the AKR1, costs like 50 USD, and it has a lot of accessories inside. So the accessories include things like this dome. It also has snoot and grid inside, and also I think a bundle. Now, just to note, these are cheap, I would say it's cheap modifiers. So don't expect high precision control and really great grids. I would say as the Pro Photo version is a lot better, but for $50, there's nothing much to complain. The nice thing of all these round heads also is that you can actually buy these filter packs. This is a gel for color correction. This is a V11C. I think there's one for special effects. I'm not really sure what's the number. And they don't cost a lot. For this whole stack of gel, it costs 25 Sing dollars. I think you can get cheaper at about 17 or 15 Sing dollars. Means it's like 10 USD. And they fit nicely, you just take one gel. Right, this is a blue gel, for example. And you can actually put it in front here with a magnetic mount, such as this dome here. So you can easily gel your flash, without requiring any straps or what. So it's a very nice thing. I think the round heads are really good inventions from Pro Photo, I say, because Pro Photo came out earlier than the Godox. So I'm not too sure who copied who, but I'm guessing that Pro Photo is the first one. Okay, so that is about it for the flash itself. So just to note here, if you want to mount Bowen or Elinchrom flashes, you need this. This is the version 2 S adapter. Just to note that the version 1 doesn't allow you to remove this part here. Oh, I can't remove it now. Okay, and this part here is important because it allows you to mount round-headed flashes. So this is important if you're going to use AD200 round head, V1, or the new AD300 from Godox itself. Okay, so there is two more things I'll talk about lighting first, or three more things I'll talk about lighting first. Firstly, I have a light meter here. This is the Sekonic L858D, and this is a high-end version. You can always buy a cheaper one. So the reason why I have a light meter is for two things. Firstly is to really measure flash when I need to, especially high-speed sync. This one can measure high-speed sync, the normal one can't. And next is also to measure shadow areas, especially for the face. The thing is that most modern cameras can do a recovery for maybe like 5 stops, in a lot of reports out there. But the thing is that once you recover to a certain amount, you lose certain color data. And depending on the camera maker, some of them lose quite a little. So for the GFX, I would say as it's safe to raise about 3 to 4 stops on the shadow region and still maintain the right color texture on the person's face. Now, if you use with the EOS R, I find that there is some change in color tones the moment you go beyond 2.5 stops like that. So it's always good to have a meter to know that the shadow region is not so dark that you cannot recover in post. And if it's so dark you cannot recover in post, you may choose to give up some highlights by overexposing the shot a little, or if not, you may choose to bring a reflector or a flash in. Now there's another specialized meter here, and this is something that I won't talk about, but I will not recommend you to buy. This is a spectrometer, a C700 Sekonic, and this is to measure white balance and also color tinting and color accuracy of all your lights. This is really useful if you are mixing lights, and this is also useful if you are color balancing with daylight. And there is different daylights because in the morning it's different from the evening, it's different from midday. So this will help you to balance the light perfectly well. Now this is more useful for video making. For photo wise, you don't really need it if you are willing to do a bit of post-processing. Normally, this is not as important, I would say. But for studio, do bring this out because studio is better to get everything right than to try to post-process everything. So that is about it for lighting itself. So let's talk about miscellaneous. So firstly, there's the modifiers. I don't say, actually it should be considered lighting, but modifier wise, I normally bring umbrellas out, and you can also bring softbox if you got the S-mount adapter. I prefer umbrella because they are easier to keep and they are durable on general purpose usage. So the next thing I'll talk about is the laptop, because if I know that I'm going to have a meal with the subject itself, it's nice to have a laptop to show them the photos rather than showing it from your camera. Because showing from the camera, sometimes it looks great on the small little screen, but it looks terrible in the laptop itself. And it's always nice to post-process the colors later before showing the subject to let them know roughly what you will get at the end. It's not a time-wasting process, and I think it instills confidence in your subject, allowing you to have returning subjects that want to shoot or collaborate with you. Now, if this is a client shoot, definitely do bring a laptop regardless, because you don't have a chance to reshoot. But if this was a free shoot, a collaboration shoot, or a time for photo shoot, always bring a laptop also if you can, and if you have a chance to eat with the subject, because showing the subject what is going to turn out at the end instills confidence and makes them happy. And not only that, they may want to shoot with you again in the future, so you can have constant shoot and practice. And that's about it for today. Now, there is one last thing I want to show you that I can't really put on the table now, and that's a carbon fiber light stand. So this is something I buy from Photix. It is fantastic. This carbon fiber light stand is really light, and you can carry it for your own travel, be it overseas or local. So definitely this is a consideration. It carries about 1.5 kg, so it's good enough for a V1 or 8200 flash with an adapter and an umbrella. Anything heavier than that, I don't recommend it because it flexes a lot and you may break the light stand or break your equipment in that process. So that's about it for today. If you like such contents, do write down in the comment below. And if you want to see more of my updates, do like and subscribe my channel, because I do have one update almost every 3 to 4 days on photography equipment or photography review or how I do certain things. Now, if you want to see certain specific content, do write in the comments so that I know what you are interested in. And if it coincides with what I'm interested, I may actually create a video for it. So that's about it for today. I hope you find it informative and understand why I use different equipment. Till then, the next video, I will see you next time. Bye bye.